to Principal Father Augustine George for providing this opportunity. I thank beloved Dean and our HOD and faculty coordinator for providing this opportunity to share my views on today's topic with respect to FTP, data analysis with the SPSS. So today I try to share about the things related to writing a literature review and measurement and scaling and how we have to design the questionnaire. These are the points we can discuss. Just a minute. Ajit sir, can you make me as a host? Okay. Yes. So I hope the slide is visible to you. So I can go directly to the topic. Yes. So before going, there's a small question. So we normally use the word called review of literature. Is there is any difference between review of literature and literature review? These are two words we normally use. So first we have to be very clear about is there is any difference between these two words. Yes. So literature review is a general, a broad, with the infinite possibilities of getting information, and it is unfocused. So when we have a no clear objective what to do, when we have no clear focus on what is the type of research we are going to do, it is like a browsing. It's like a browsing. So when we have to say, when we want to get a proper review, it is called as a review of literature. So whenever we start with the research, we say that we have to start with the reviewing the literature. Literature already we know that it is a previously available data. It may be from the government source or any database or from previous journals, books, etc. So, when we wish to write a review of literature, we should have a specific reason for it. We should have a proper objective, and we should have a defined area with purpose, and we should do a review of literature process in an order. Then only it is called as review of literature. So mostly when we start writing article or when we tend to collect the data for our thesis, okay, so we mostly just started browsing whatever we are getting, whoever referring, and we try to store n number of journal articles, n number of ppts, questionnaires, etc., without having any proper objective and without having any proper order to store. So what will happen? For example, the thesis or PhD is for approximately 3 to 4 years. The first 3 years we will focus only on review of literature. Only the third year and only we'll come to the questionnaire part and we start doing data collection and we will go for analysis. So the out of 4 years, approximately 3 years, we will be focusing on a review of literature, and most of the time in some cases the topic is also fixed at the end of the second year or third year. So we have to be very careful in doing a review of literature. Whatever the efforts we are doing, whatever the data we are collecting, storing, should be proper. Otherwise we will be having a number of or a gb of data, but at the end of the day when we start writing our thesis or article, it may not be useful, or we will find very difficult to identify which are all the articles or which are the data are relevant. So we have to be very careful when we start writing review of literature. We should have a proper objective. Okay, this is the general step in writing a thesis or a PhD thesis. So identification of research area, data collection, data processing, review of literature, and before going for a final thing, we have to go for pre-testing the questionnaire and analyzing, and with the formulation of objectives, we go for a research report preparation. So these are the approximately 9 steps I listed here. So is which part will be applied more with respect to our collected review of literature? So can anybody please respond for this? So among the various chapters or various steps in writing the thesis, which one will be more applicable chapter? Yes. So practically speaking, the review of literature, even we have a topic called review of literature, that may be a second chapter or a third chapter. Review of literature is applicable in all the chapters, starting from the introduction page. Even we can say that the first part of our thesis may be abstract, or sometimes before the PhD we will be submitting the synopsis. Starting from the abstract part to our end conclusion part, the review of literature is applied. So it's not only restricted to the chapter review of literature, but it is useful for all the chapters that we have to keep in mind. So whatever we are collecting, we should be very careful. This data can be applicable in this chapter. Yes. The next one, please see this following words like see, observe, view, notice, watch, perceive, glance, look. Whether all the words are same. Similarly, the words like design, review, criticize, analyze, evaluate, interpret. Whether all the words can be used alternatively? No, sometimes. So the words can be similar, but they have a different usage. May differ in specific meaning. It changes with the situation of usage, differ with the people who is using it, and differ with the purpose of usage. So why I mentioned this is when we are started writing a review of literature or started searching for a review of literature, each and every word, we call it as a keyword, is very important. When we choose a wrong keyword, we cannot proceed with our review of literature. Review of literature. So what is our general understanding if you're not very clear about a review of literature? So review of literature is a bunch of words written together as a paragraph. It can be a conclusion of content we collected from various sources, various articles. It's not just a description of a work. So if we are doing some work, it's just writing it. It's not a description of work. And the review of literature, we should not give our own opinions or our self justification. So mostly in many research or in the article writing, the biggest mistake the researcher will do is before started writing or before preparing a question itself, we have some assumption in our mind. So we always search, we always write, we always collect data, we always interpret data, expecting some our opinions to be justified. That is a mistake. So the review of literature, we should not include our opinion or our self-justification at any point of place. Okay. So what is review of literature? So the review of literature is a documentation of comprehensive review. It can be a published or unpublished work. Mostly it will be the secondary sources in the areas of specific interest. The word specific interest is very important. And why we are doing review of literature? The main objective is to find our problems that are already investigated and those need to further investigation. So when we are writing an article or selecting a topic, researchers always focus on the problem to be studied if it is new or to be verified if it is already addressed by other earlier researchers. So the review of literature has to be focused on the problems. Yes. So the purpose of review of literature, why we are doing review of literature when we are new or we have a semi knowledge about a topic which we want to do a research, we should have a proper background knowledge. And the review of literature will guide us where to focus, where to start. And the review of literature will try to identify the concepts that we have to focus, that we have to study, that we have to interpret, to identify the potential relationship between the concepts and formulation of researchable hypothesis. So the review of literature part has the impact on research methodology part. If we consider the thesis or article, research methodology part is very, very important. Any reviewer go to the directly to the research methodology to find the quality of the article or quality of the thesis. But that research methodology part depends upon the quality of review of literature we done connecting the concepts and our proposed hypothesis. And the review of literature also guide us to select the appropriate methodology that is the research design, even the sample size, etc. And it helps to identify the data sources. What are the ways I can collect the data? That also will be guided by a review of literature. And to know more about other structured reports, the review of literature will give you idea what are the other resources can be referred. That is also possible with the review of literature. So finally, the purpose of review of literature is to introduce the topic to the readers. So we are in assumption whatever we are writing or publishing article, it can be known by or understandable by all. So even if I am from a management perspective, if my article or a thesis is read by a statistician or a psychological person, it should be understandable. Then only it is called as a proper article or proper research. So the review of literature will give an overview about our topic or our research. It helps to explain the trend, what is the current trend it is happening, and it helps to decide the research framework, a new or to be get adopted. And the main important thing is finding the research gap. So review of literature will help to find the research gap. Yes. So in writing a review of literature, we have to focus on these things. We have to categorize the reviews. We might be getting a lot of data, lot of information. We have to categorize, we have to segment, we have to cluster. And whatever we are collecting, we have to analyze, evaluate critically, and all each line, each keyword, each concepts to be discussed in the review of literature should have the purpose or it should be related to objectives. Yes, just a minute. Yes. So, what are the things to do in review of literature? We have to find the major database resources. So, for the challenge for the researcher in writing a review of literature to where to find the data. So, for this, we have to depend on our guide or our co-scholars or the institution in which we want to submit our thesis or the actual awarding university. So, what is their suggestion? We have to follow, and we have to focus on the framing research questions. So next to the research gap, we have to write down what are the possible research questions. For this, our review of literature and the entire thesis should give the answer to the questions. And the main important thing in starting to write the review of literature is to find keywords. So after finding the keywords, we have to search, we have to download articles, we have to read the same article again and again from the top to bottom, and we have to note down the key points again. From the key points, we have to refine, we have to start writing. This is the way we have to go for a review of literature. Yes. So for proceeding in the review of literature, we have to find the journals or websites which are most cited by the recent researchers. So we have to check with the citation score, or we can check with the impact factor of the journals. And we have to find the articles from the recent specialized authors in the area. So whenever we are downloading an article, we have to check what year it belongs to, which journal it belongs to. If you identify the journal, then we have to check the journal authenticity, what is the impact factor, and with respect to the author, we can use the ResearchGate or Scopus or LinkedIn. By this, we can understand the work done by the authors. So mostly the reviewers of the paper or reviewers of the thesis always look for the reference, which is recent, at least 3 to 5 years the maximum. And authors who are contributing more and more, their paper should be referred in the article or the thesis. For this, Google Scholar and the ResearchGate are the free links. We can easily browse about it. And we have to frame a proper title to focus towards our objectives. So keywords, after the keywords, we have to find out the proper titles, the title which leads to the solution for objectives. And we have to plan our bibliography, and we have to decide how much I have to refer, how much articles I have to refer, how much journals I have to see, how much website I have to do. and how many topics. So even before we are sitting in the computer to start browsing, we should have at least this much number of plans. Otherwise, we will just search. We can't end up with a review of literature. Okay. So how to proceed in review of literature writing? We should have an abstract. We focus on the abstract. For example, why I'm saying this? For example, we get an article. From this, we are going to write a review of literature. Take an article, read the abstract first, because many reputed journals or articles may be paid. No problem. Even we can read the abstract and keywords. That will give you more idea how to proceed. And they will be giving the reference links. That links will give you idea where I can get other free resources. So reading an abstract, or if it's the entire thesis or an article, means you can go to the conclusion part and focus on the research methodology and finding and suggestions. Even there is a 200 pages of thesis, if you go through at least this 10 to 20 pages, it will give a clear idea what we want to grasp from the particular article or particular thesis. And for writing or for referring this, some of the tools available is mostly it's a free. Manly, EndNote, Zotero, Refer and Write. We can use these tools which help in writing a decent review of literature. Yes. So as I said, we have to choose an article or author with a good research core, with good citation index, with a good impact factor, and it should be listed in reports referred by the experts, or it can be from the reputed government database. Okay, so again, a reminder, review of literature process, we have to keep in mind with the keywords and compare works from different authors from different journals. So whenever we are getting one topic, try to search the same topic in different journals from the different authors. We just to compare, we will get many ideas. And whenever we identify some concept or points from few papers, we have to discuss with the scholars or the guide to get the different views. Because whenever we are reading the paper again and again, we might be restricted with some points. When we are discussing with others, we might be getting a different opinion that will help us in proceeding with the review of literature. Okay. So in writing a review of literature, there are many methods, but the two methods are catalog method and dialogue method. So catalog method is just describing what happened or what explained in other articles and what other found in that article or about a summary. But what is suggested in the review of literature is dialogue method. We have to read, we have to interpret, we have to critically analyze what are the points discussed there, concluded there, and we have to ask questions from the paper or the thesis, and we try to find out the answers from the paper itself. So analyzing a paper, explaining it, interpreting it, and synthesizing the analyzed process into a sentence. That is the best way of writing a review of literature rather than just describing or identifying some sentences which may be relevant to your topic. Okay. Then, when we are writing a review of literature, it should be in a chronological order, or it can be in a reverse chronological order. We can start with 2021, can go in a reverse. That is one way of writing a review of literature. Or we can have a different views of authors. This author view. We can take 2 to 3 paragraphs with respect to this. Another view of author. We can go like this. Or we can have our own topics. We can fix up with the topics. Under this topic, we can conclude with 10 reviews. Another topic, another 10 to 15 reviews. We can go like this. Or we can frame a heading and subheading first, and we try to fix up with our reviews. So finally, our review of literature should have quantitative explanation, qualitative justification, experimental identification, and observational facts which may infer from our regular visit to the field or interview with others. That also can be included in the review of literature. Yes. So while writing a review of literature, we have to keep in mind a few things again. We have to be very careful in how we are introducing, and we have to be careful on identifying some variables. Okay, for example, dependent variable, independent variable, mediating variable, moderating variable. These are things we'll discuss later. Okay, so there are different types of variables, how it is used. We are going to use in our thesis or in our article, but what is the view or what is the application or what is the usage of these variables in other research papers? That should be a supporting one. And we should have a proper theoretical framework. For the theory rating, we can again use Manly or Google Scholar that will give more concepts and theories. And whenever we are writing a review of literature, we should not always find a positive or supporting points, what we assume to conclude in our thesis. We can also go for a contradictory views. So one side, one review with a supporting view, another side with a contradictory view from the two different or three different authors. But again, this can be your research cap to justify how you want to proceed. And we have to follow the suggested style. The normal suggested style is APA format. And according to your university or according to the journal you are going to publish, we have to follow the suggested style in writing and what is the voice we have to use. So we have to review various papers and we have to write and we can give for a proofreading with others and finally with the proper reference. Yes. So these are the few inputs for writing a review of literature. So now I share the few data sources. So mostly it will be free. From this itself, we can write a decent review of literature. The Shodhganga inflinet.ac.in. It is our Indian government website. In this, most of the universities uploading their recently published thesis. For example, your study is related to customer relationship management in banking means you can search here. You can get n number of theses published in various universities. You can go through it. You can review it. You can understand the questionnaire. You can understand what the methodology they use. You can identify the gap. It's a very good source for referring. Next one, www.ssrn.com. This is a free resource. Here you can search for open access journals, reputed journals you can find. Next one, journal finder. You got stuck, what journal I can find? So always we are saying reputed journal. We don't know what is a reputed journal means. You just type your title of your paper or a thesis. This will list you n number of journals, which includes a lot of articles discussed with related to your topic. Then you can go through the journals. This is a journal finder. It's Elsevier's link. Or otherwise you can go to scopus.com. Here, if you know the ISSN number or if you know the ISBN number, if you know the author name, if you know the title, you can directly get here and you have to register for this using your mail ID. And if you paid, you can get all the paid resources also. Otherwise, you will get the open resources. Next one, the very important thing, which is equivalent or sometimes above our Scopus listed thing, it's the Web of Science. It's called as mgl.clarivate.com. This will give SCI index or SCIA indexed journals, which are so reputed, so valid for writing a review of literature. From this, sometimes you may not be able to get the full articles, but you may be able to see the abstract, the keywords, and main concepts discussed. That may be more than enough to proceed in your review of literature or finding the gap. Next, a simple thing, ResearchGate. So if you go to the ResearchGate, if you register, if you choose any keywords, this will give n number of articles and you can filter year wise. For example, you need only in 2021 or 2020 to 2021, you can filter, you can find out the researcher wise data, you can find project wise, you can find publication wise, you can list out. So this will give you idea. So for example, if you are browsing for employee satisfaction, if you put the keyword employee satisfaction, you can able to find out n number of articles studied from various countries, published in various journals. And go to the next keyword. So if you're using the different keyword, you can find out which is a prominent keyword. For this, I will get a proper review of literature. Of researchers and participants, my recommendation from my experience, we have to proceed with the review of literature. So we have to collect the review of literature and we have to proceed with the review of literature for the research. So what is suggested in deciding your topics, for example, either for the thesis or for your articles, or deciding with your variables what you are going to use, what is suggested is, please search the keywords or the topics in the sources, which topic, which keyword, or for which are all the variables, you are able to get more recent, diverse articles. Please choose that topic or please choose that variable. Because sometimes we'll be so innovative in the process of getting a different innovative research gap that is not addressed by any of the persons. We end up with shortage of review of literature. Even our view, even our idea, even our concept is very innovative, but none of the evaluator will accept either it is an article or a thesis. If you are not having enough reviews in the recent years, there's a chance of rejection. So that's why we have to work in a reverse. For which topic, for which area, for which are all the data, we are able to get enough articles, we can go with this. That is always recommendable. So another database, paid database is www.procus.com. And justup.org, this thing we can get a reputed journals, but it's a paid one. Taylor and Francis, this will give a reputed articles from the various domains. And this is the manly.com. This helps you in searching for the article, finding with the related authors who are working on the same area, or it will help in review of literature writing, in organizing your review of literature, organizing your references, bibliography, citation, etc. This is a very good, wonderful tool that every researcher has to learn. And after writing a review of literature, we can use the Grammarly. It's a paid version is also available, free version is also available. By using this, it can be incorporated in our normal Word, even a mail or anything. So it will simplify your mistakes. It will correct your grammar mistakes. It will suggest what are the proper words or the synonyms. Sometimes you will end up with the plagiarism. We don't know how to reduce it. That time this Grammarly will guide you. These are the alternate words you can use. And sometimes in the paid version, you can check the plagiarism parallelly when you are writing it. So this is also useful for you. And a very common, friendly link is scholar.google.com. That's a Google Scholar. So if you want to get any articles, I mentioned about the previous lot of links and lot of journals, but everything is available in the Google Scholar because all the reputed things will be listed in the Google Scholar. It is scholar.google.com. So I will just to show how it can be done, the screenshot during the shortage of time. So for example, consumer preference in organic products. You go to the scholar.google, just to search it. It will come like this. Okay, so what you have to see is you can select the year wise, you can filter citation wise, you can do this. So now I am saying, so which article I have to choose? There will be a number of articles will be coming. So please check cited by. Which article is having more citation? That is the article you have to refer because it's mostly accepted by many of the researchers. So please search that type of articles to get downloaded. So next you are going through is if you download it. So please, you can see the title, you can see the year, you can see the journal, you can see the abstract, you can see the keywords, whether it is useful for me or not. Even though you are not downloading the entire article, by seeing the first page itself, you can see whether it is useful or not. Then you can open the Word document. Whenever we are doing side by side, for example, scholar.google, we are getting some data. Parallelly, what we have to do is in the Word document, there's an icon called reference. Okay, if you click the reference, there will be insert EndNote. So parallelly, if you click the style, please select APA 5th edition format or whatever may be the latest format. So please enable it. So when we click this reference, that's EndNote, you have to select the end of the documents. Okay, because whatever you are collecting, it should come at the reference should be at the end. And you can change into bulletin or 1, 2, 3. So mostly it is recommended at the end of the document and 1, 2, 3. You have to select this. And APA format you have to select. So like this it will come. So whenever you are searching for the article, so as I told, this is the article. Okay. So if you want to find out what is the first name of the author. Okay. So if you click this button, it will show the first author. The first author you have tried. So for example, here, so this is the copied one from the citation from the Google Scholar. So this is the first name of the author. And if it is a more number of authors means you can add et al, ETAL, full stop, comma, and bracket, you have to add the year of the publication. This is available here, right? So when we use this, when you click this double quotation like this, if you click this, automatically it will show APA format, EEE format. You have to copy this and you have to paste here. And defaultly, if you click the EndNote, this will show 1 and below itself, this reference will be automatically written. So from this abstract, you might be getting some points and you can write, it stated that consumer preference of eco-labeled organic products. So whenever you are reading, parallelly write the author, first author, name, and if it is a more number, you can put et al, and the year, and please add the EndNote. Automatically the APA format of the reference will be added. So whenever you are writing one by one, parallelly your review of literature reference will be taken care. It's simple reference tool. These are the other tools you can use for browse. Okay. Yes. So with this review of literature, I want to stop here with the review of literature. So next I want to move to the next topic. It's called as measurement and scaling. So I have a little bit fast because I have to discuss about many points with respect to the questionnaire formation. A little bit I will be rushing. If anybody want to stop me, you can text me. Okay. Okay. So anybody have any doubt at any point, please stop me because I cannot uh, slow down my presentation. Okay. Measurement. So next, after the review of literature, we are going to the questionnaire development, etc. Before that, we have to learn some concept called measurement. Measurement is how we want to measure our collected data. Okay. That's a measurement. For this, we have to know about some variables. Variable, categorical variable, numerical variable. The categorical variable, it is a nominal variable, ordinal variable. The numerical, it is a discrete or continuous. The examples are given below. Okay. So, nominal variable, okay, I will show this. Next one, variables, there are other type of variables with respect to the independent variable or dependent variable. Dependent variable are mostly the outcome. For example, if we say sales, sales is outcome, profit is outcome. Gender, based on the gender, the sales may vary. Based on the promotion, the sales may vary. Based on the advertisement. So this side is called as independent variable, which have the influence on the outcome is called as dependent variable. So with this, for example, if I am taking this as an independent variable, this is a dependent variable, there is some variable can be called as a mediator variable or mediating variable. So whenever we are reading a review of literature, try to find out these variables which has to be applied in our article or in our thesis. So which is independent variable, which is dependent variable, and which is a mediating variable. For example, I am doing a discount promotion, that is the independent variable. You want to study the impact of this discount with the sales. Sales is a dependent variable. Here, I want to add gender. Is there is any influence of gender with respect to the preference of discount? This can be a mediating variable. Here, moderating variable. In the presence of advertisement, how the gender preference will vary with respect to discount. In the absence of advertisement, how the preference of discount will vary with respect to the gender in increasing the sales. That can be moderate. Moderating may increase or decrease the influence of the mediating variable. So when we are reading the article, find out which is independent, which is dependent, which is moderating, which is mediating. Just write down this. For example, I am showing this is independent variable. Job satisfaction is a thing we have to study on job satisfaction among the employees in so and so organization. This may be our title. So job satisfaction is the dependent variable. It's outcome. These are all things can be an independent variable. Here, job stress. How these variable will create a job satisfaction. Job stress is a mediating variable. Okay. Another things. I want to study the performance. I want to study the performance of the employees based on some stress factors. It can be a job related, organizational, career related. These are the independent variable. So stress, performance. We want to study the stress factor. It is an independent variable. How it is influencing. I want to measure the outcome. The outcome or performance can be measured in the reduction of absenteeism or poor working relations, productivity, morale, and loss of interest. So if these things are less, I can say the performance is more. How? So I am studying independent variable, its impact on dependent variable. But in between, stress, job stress. Job stress is a mediating variable. Because of these factors, you might get job stress. Because of this job stress, your performance will be affected. Independent variable, dependent variable, mediating variable. Now I am adding a gender, it's a moderating variable. With respect to the gender, if it is a man, is having a more job stress or not? If it is a woman having a more job stress or not? Is this gender is having an influence on job stress with respect to these factors in analyzing the performance? Simple study, but we have to identify n number of factors and variables. So please be careful. Come back to the scales. Okay, variables are there. We have to analyze how the scale is done in the variables. It can be a nominal variable, a nominal scale, it can be ordinal scale, it can be interval scale, it can be ratio scale. So the picture clearly explained this nominal is just a count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many male, how many female? How many engineers? Just counting. What is the education level? Just counting. Rank, if I am able to make them in order. Age, I can make it as an order. The marks code I can make it in order. So it is called as ordinal. It's coming in ordinal scale. Interval scale with specific interval. It is not a continuous one. Ratio is comparing with another variable. It's a ratio scale. So whenever we are identifying a variable, try to find out what scale is used that can be applied in your paper or thesis. Okay. So the other scaling techniques, it can be used a comparative scales, a non-comparative scale. If you want to compare your data, you can use paired comparison, rank order, constant sum. If it's a non-comparative scale, it's a continuous rating or item scale. There we can use Likert scale or semantic scale. I will just show the pictures. Just I will want to move on. Paired comparison, you can have a two brands just to compare which is preferred or not. Among these two, preferred or not, preferred or not. It's just a paired comparison scale. Next, rank order, you are listing out these are the possible investment options. Please rank it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, I am ranking gold as a 1, bank as a 2. This is the rank order scale. Next, constant sum scale. Your preference on amount of, so your end result you have to fix. Your end result is 100 lakh. If you have 100 lakh, what is your distribution of your investment? So here at gold, I want to invest 20 lakh, share I want to invest 5 lakh. So here the sum total is fixed and I have you, or the respondent has to fill these gaps. It's called as constant sum scale. Continuous rating scale, it can be a strongly agreed to strongly disagree, or in the reverse, or it can be numbered with 1 to 10. It is a continuous rating scale. Semantic difference scale, we have 2n. We want to get the opinion. Qualitative things, it can be used for semantic differential scale. Clean, dirty, just opposite. Dark, well light. Likewise, you have to find out two bipolar variables and you have to rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 to 7 or 3, 5, whatever may be. The respondent have to answer any one of the place. This is called a semantic. It is used for qualitative analysis. Staple scale, it's again a bipolar. You like or dislike. It's just a simple. Strongly agree or strongly disagree. This scale will say you likewise how much you are liking, +1 to +5. You have to explain. For example, here I mentioned as high food quality. It's a +4. Sometimes it's a high quality, it's a very negative. I dislike it. It can be -5. So it's a bipolar. It's not only the satisfaction and dissatisfaction. The dissatisfaction, what is the level of highest dissatisfaction that we can do? It can be done in different ways. As it shows, this called as staple scale or bipolar scale. So this thing we have to learn when we are doing a measurement or scaling or forming a questionnaire. Next, we have to focus on the validity. That's an important word called the validity. You will be collecting a data. So normally we with the review of literature, we form some variables. With the variables, we go for a questionnaire. We'll go for a pilot study. Why we are doing a pilot study? Whatever data I collected is valid or not. Because after collecting 1,500 questionnaire, if I found my data is wrong, if it is not giving a proper answer, I cannot go for the collection again. So I can go for 100 or 50 data, sample data, pilot study. Then I have to go for a validity check, whether my content is okay or not. That is called as content validity. Whether my questionnaire covers all the topic, I have to do it. If there is any change in scale required, I have to do it. That's called a construct validity. Whether the variable used, construct used, or item used is right, that's called a construct validating. Next one, test of reliability. So here we are using a Crompa alpha. Minimum it should have a 0.6. At least 0.6 is okay. 0.8 is a very good score. This says that the same questionnaire is used multiple times to the multiple people, even the first year, second year, third year. It gives the same response made. I can believe the tool. That is called as reliability. So using a reliability, you can justify my questionnaire is reliable. For example, I will go with my study. So I just want to use my study for an example. Okay. So here I did a pilot study. Okay. So I identified 11 construct. The main heading are called as construct. The sub variables are called as item. So whenever we are writing a thesis or the research articles, we have to find out construct. The article may have a 2 or 3 construct. Each construct may have a 5 to 10 items. It depends upon the content. Okay. So here I found 11 construct. I mentioned about how many items. Items in the sub questions what I am going to use. So here I analyzed the Crompa alpha. From this I found out Crompa alpha is approximately 0.92 at 95% confidence level. So I can rely on this data, and overall it is having 78 items. 78 item means 78 options with respect to scale. So I can use it, and it is mostly it's a 5 point. So the Crompa alpha can be used only for the Likert scale or 5 item scales. It cannot be used for our demographic or categorical variables. Next one, we have a test for the test of normality. Here we are using a technical called skewness and kurtosis. It should be between -1.5 to +1.5. What is normality? Normality means we have a questionnaire. Okay, for example, if we are taking a gender means all the people are male or all the people are gender means it's not having normality. You should have a equal distribution from the response. Or otherwise, you are having a question number 1, in this all the people are saying is highly satisfied, or all the people are saying it is a neutral, or most of the people are saying it's a dissatisfied, means it is biased. So you should have some number of responses with respect to the highly satisfaction, some responses with respect to the satisfaction, some responses neutral, some responses dissatisfaction, some responses highly dissatisfied. You should have all distribution. That is called as normality. If it is not there, the questionnaire cannot be used. So we have to do a normality test. Yes. So this is the analysis I did. So this is under control. I use the same thing for the 11 variables from the questionnaire. I analyze is supporting. So I can use this interview schedule or called as questionnaire. Why we have to do? If it is not valid at the time of analysis, the result will not come. Whatever hypothesis frame, which will not be validated. Yes. So next I am directly come to the questionnaire design process. Whenever we want to design a questionnaire, specify the information needed, specify the type of interview method, what we are going to use. So your questionnaire design depends upon what type of survey you are going to do. Whether you are going to distribute a Google form, whether you are going for a direct interview method, or if you want to going to distribute with many people, or we are going to arrange a consultancy for data collection. Based on that, you have to change the words or change the questions and determine the individual questions. And we have to frame a question, wording, and proper order, layout, and we will do a pre-testing, as I said, in a pilot study. Yes. So the questionnaire can have a different set of questions. The same way the questionnaire also can be structured or unstructured. Closed-ended or open-ended. Closed-ended means we are giving 5 options and you are asking you to tick any one of the 5 options. You are giving 2 options, I have to choose any one of the 2 options. This is called as closed-ended. Open-ended means your name, your mobile number. What is suggested in pilot study, you can have an open-ended question. But in the final question, please try to avoid having open-ended question. If it is a closed-ended question, means analysis is very easy. Even if it's a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 options, make it as a closed-ended. This closed-ended can be designed only with the help of review of literature in the pilot study. Okay. So, what are the source of error in questionnaire formation? Misleading or ambiguous question. Whenever we are asking question, we should think in the respondent point of view. If we are thinking from our point of view, the answer will be unique or answer will be different. We need their opinion, not our assumptions. The interviewer can have a bias, so please make a question with respect to the understandable of the interviewer or respondent. And you can choose a wrong sample that may lead to the bias. So always higher number of sample size is better for reducing the bias. And we have a bias in data collection. We can have a bias in data analysis. We can have a bias in inference. So please try to avoid these biases to have a proper designing of questionnaire. Question, when we are forming, it should be in a sequence order. By reading a first question, I should know what will be the next question. I should have a sequence. Please use multiple choice questions. Have a question as impressive to answer. Pre-test the question to avoid errors. Avoid lengthy questions or jargons or tough words that respondent cannot understand. And please train the interviewer if you are not going to collect the questionnaire. Yes, it should be eye-catching. It should be simple. The layout should be very clear. Please use the clear and polite words. Please group the questions properly. First few questions should be very easy. Mostly we'll put as a demography, your age, your gender, your occupation, because it's very easy to fill. So please make the respondent convenient in your first page, then go for complicated or logical question that will encourage the respondent to respond. And avoid complex question, or if it is a more complex question like that, getting their reviews or any suggestion, make it as a last. Yes. So there's the same thing as listed here. Okay. So now I fastly move on with my research, how it is organized for your understanding. Okay. So initially I started with the keywords. So my thesis is retailers' preference of trade promotion schemes for FMCG product. So from this you can find out the keywords: retailer, trade promotion, schemes, FMCG products. So I should start searching for these keywords first: retail, retailing, promotion, trade promotion, promotion schemes, FMCG products. So from this, I collected around 62 Indian studies and 38 foreign studies. So approximately 100. So I am not collected 100. I collected around 5,000 articles, but I filtered finally around 100 articles. Then I found the research gap. So from the various reviews, I found the research gaps that will lead to me the formulation of objectives. I formed the objectives to study the retailers' evaluation of consumer characteristics, trade promotion schemes. So from the review of literature, I identified this word, consumer characteristics, trade promotion schemes. So my all the topics are related to trade promotion schemes. So I found some words, channel related evaluation. So consumer, I have to study. Channel, I have to study. Then company related things, I have to study. Profitability related things, I have to study. But how I identify these keywords? From the review of literature only I identify. Then I match with the objectives. So next one, I found some variable. As I said, we have to find out the variables from the research articles. I found two important characteristics or variables I have to do. Store characteristics. Okay, store. I chosen a location, rural or urban, and these are the type of outlet, size of the outlet, year of establishment. These are things I want to collect. Retailer, with respect to the retailer, I found a family background and education. I consider this is a main important variable I have to focus. Then I have to study about the FMCG products, right? From this review, I found that entire FMCG can be categorized into personal care, household care, branded food and beverages, healthcare. So I'm segmented the variables, and below that I have the subcategories. Then when I want to go for a questionnaire formulation or for analysis, I need some keywords. So consumer characteristics. So these are the four objectives. For this objective, I need to construct. That's the main heading. You can think it as a main heading: consumer response and impact and response. For channel, I identified marketing effort, trade reaction, product quality, salesman also. So similarly, you can find out the keywords, or please make n number of question, do factor analysis, combine into one or two variables. Okay, so for example, this consumer response is the keyword which is identified in the review of literature, but the data is formed based on 4 to 5 factors reduced using factor analysis. That also you have to do. So you are finding. So these are the main construct you are going to study. Yes. What are the schemes I have to study? I found 4 different types of schemes from the review of literature: quantity-based scheme, trade allowance, trade reward, trade supported by branding. When I go through the lot of review of literature, these are the quantity schemes available, these are the trade allowance scheme available, these are the trade reward available, these are the trade supported by. So this gives me idea how I can formulate my questionnaire. Based on that, I formulated my hypothesis also, assumption. Okay. So see, in formulating the hypothesis, I am related my topic, my objective, and my study. Consumer response, these are the keywords I identified, and I want to study the significant difference in consumer response and perceived impact on consumer and product categories. Okay. This way we have to formulate the hypothesis. So what I'm saying, hypothesis formulation, objective formulation, variable deciding, tools, and everything depends upon your review of literature. Then finally, I found these are the maximum variables. I said earlier variables and scaling, right? So items, these are the main headings. Under this, I'm going to use the subheadings. Product category, these are subheading. Scheme category, and these are the subheadings. Yes. From this, I formulated, with respect to the retail, I formulated 8 questions. Product related, I formulated 4 questions, categorical. For scheme related, I categorize 2 dichotomous. Dichotomous means yes or no, or male, female, only 2 answers. And with respect to the retail perception, I formulated 74 scaled. See, these things, dichotomous, 2 options, categorical, which is not scale. For example, age is a category. Okay. For example, your occupation is a category which cannot be counted, which cannot be scaled. Only the satisfaction level or opinion, which can be put in a Likert scale, we call it as a scale. So for first 3 things, I used dichotomous or categorical scaling. For the final important thing, retail perception, I used a Likert scale. So totally 92 questions I'm having. Out of that, 2 dichotomous, 16 categorical, 74. This is actually reduced from my data analysis in pilot study. So 92 is my final questionnaire design. Yes. So now I have to come up with a model. So this is a model. I use the 2 characteristic retailer. These characteristics, I want to study product category, scheme category, and product scheme category, interaction category. With whom I want to study a rural retailer, urban retailer, 2 types of retailer, business background, non-business background. So I want to combine it. So by formulating these things, I am formulating consumer oriented. This is one outcome. I formulated only one objective. So these are the main variables. Actually, if you see my hypothesis, this will be incorporated here. See? Seeking consumer response perceived as a product category. So what you have to see, your title, your objective, your hypothesis, your model, your questionnaire, your analysis, all should be in a sequence. Yes. Okay, so I am just to show the other models apart from my study. So, for example, here I want to study the actual behavior. I want to study this independent variable. This is a mediating variable. This is one model. If you want to study the behavior, there are four different things. These things are interrelated: online shopping, in-store shopping, other shopping. This other model. If you want to study the outcomes in teaching learning methodology, this is outcome. This is an input. This is a mediating variable. If you want to study the employee engagement, these are all the independent variable. This is a dependent variable. Okay. So how variable used and choosing tools are related. You have to be very careful. So I will show this why I am saying about categorical variable, etc. So here, when you want to decide about what tools to be used, please don't decide your tools first. But sometimes your guide or university may say you have to use regression. You have to use SEM model means your questionnaire should be revised. For revising the questionnaire, you should have a proper review of literature. Okay, so please ask the expectation from the university or from the guide, then you have to reverse working. So I'm just giving an option to decide with the chi-square. If you have a two categorical variable is not scaled, then you can go for a chi-square. And next one is metric. It is a measurable dependent variable with a category variable. You can do an ANOVA. If it is a metric variable with two options, you can go for independent sample. For example, it is with a gender. Okay, it is with the type of family. You can go for independent sample irrespective of ANOVA. We can do for two options. Metric and one or more factor variable, you have to go for ANCOVA. If there is more dependent metric variable and more factor variable, you can go for MANOVA. My thesis is based on MANOVA only because having n number of factor variables. And if you have a metric variable pre-tested, for example, before the disease, after disease, before the treatment, after the treatment, before the promotion, after the promotion, then you have to go for a paired sample t-test. If you go for a metric dependent and metric independent, you can go for regression. If both are metric variable, you can go for regression. If there is a more number of metric variable grouped, you can go for factor analysis. So factor analysis is used to reduce the number of data or number of variable to help you. If you have more than one metric variable, it has to be segmented. It has to be segmented. So factor analysis will group, cluster analysis will segment. Okay. Next, if you have a category one independent and metric many independent, you can go for a discriminant analysis. If you have a validity check, if you want to check with the item, you want to check with the construct, etc., you have to go for a confirmatory factor analysis. If you want to go for a n number of relationship, you want to compare with the n number of relationships with variable, then you have to go for a sum to find out the combination of attributes. How these attributes compare to the product performance, you can go for a conjoint analysis. Why I mentioned this, you can fix these basic tools to be implemented means your questionnaire should have that variable or data to be collected. If you want to add that variable or a scale, you should have a proper review of literature theory. If it had this theory, mean it should be your objective. Based on your objective, hypothesis should be framed. So all are interrelated. So please focus on these things. Okay. So with this, I can close. Today, I shared something about writing a review of literature and what is meant by measurement, what are the scales we can use, how we can classify the variables, and the model, the way of writing a thesis. Okay. So with this, I can stop. If there is any doubts, you feel free to ask. You can type in the chat box if anything you want to get clarified. Just for your information, I am sharing this questionnaire formulated. I hope this is visible to you. So see, this first section is demographic variable. Okay, this is a demographic variable. This mostly have categorical variable. So it is easy to collect and it has category, agriculture, business, retail. So only you can count it. You cannot measure it. You cannot count it. How many owners, how many managers, how many owned, how many rented. So this is categorical. Then I use some scaling. And finally, I go to the Likert scale. So here you can see trade promotion objective, impact of similar promotion. These all can be called as a construct. So for example, you can see perceived consumer response to trade promotion. This is a construct. For this construct, I should have this much number of questions or items. So some thesis will have a question. What do you feel about it? Like that it can be, or it can be straight away, it's a scale. Okay, so these are the items. By considering all these items, I can answer this construct. So by factor analysis, we try to reduce. For example, having 10 variable, by factor analysis will say out of 10, 4 is suitable or 5 is suitable. This will say. Okay, how I used these words? None of these words, even it is a construct, the heading or inside the item, none of these words are written by me on my own. Even if you take respondent position, owner and manager and others, it is taken from one article. If you take ownership, it is taken from one article. So for each and every question, or for each and every scale, or for each and every option, if you have one review from a reputed journal or from a reputed article, whatever the issues, that will be handled by your references. So that's why we always says, please have a proper review of literature to justify your topic, your objective, your hypothesis, and your analysis. Even in your analysis, why you are going for choosing an ANOVA, why you are choosing a chi-square, why you are going for a SEM, you can add 2 lines with respect to some reference. Then the evaluator will understand this is not your decision, this is done with the recommendation of some other reputed article. That is the expectation of the evaluators, or that is the expectation from the current researchers. Okay, so this is for your reference. I share. I hope I shared. uh, Yes, one question. You mentioned 9 steps of research. It's in a PhD only. We can follow this for MTech project also. Yes, sir. So these are the major headings only, sir. So it's not exactly 9 steps. So something will say 6 steps, something will say 10 steps, but mostly all the thesis or article writing, this will follow the headings only. And again, don't stick on to my 9 steps or others 9 steps. Please go with the instruction, what your university is saying or what your guide is saying. That you have to follow. Suggest reference books or literature on the topic. So Pradeep sir, you can send me a message in the WhatsApp group. You please tell your topic so that we are able to connect. There is no need of a reference book, sir. We have a number of links that can be used for your reference. So please share your topic either personally or in the group to the coordinator. I will help you. Okay. Yes. So any other support, any other suggestions you want to add, you can add. If you need any support, please inform the coordinator through which we will be helping in the further sessions also. Okay, thank you. So respected HOD sir, I
Okay,
request you to
yeah.
conclude.
Okay, yeah. So the second day of this 7-day FTP program, I take this opportunity to specially congratulate and thank my dear friend and colleague, Professor Dr. D. Ravindran,
Thank you,
for
sir.
having very precisely and very clearly discussed the different aspects of literature review and scaling, and also having given some very practical tips with regard to the development of the instrument, namely the questionnaire. And hope this has been beneficial. Okay, as sir said, no, like if you have any specific requirement or any assistance is required with regard to the area of your study, you are welcome. We will get back to you. You can just put in the start book and we'll get back to you. I once again congratulate Professor Dr. Ravindran, and also express my deep sense of gratitude to all the participants who have been enthusiastically involved in the session. And we will go ahead in the days to come with more practical oriented aspects, and we'll be discussing the analysis of data using SPSS in the days to come. Okay, thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants. This we will close the session. Thank you all.